What are some of the top things you're seeing right now in the PR world, maybe some of the marketing world, for what maybe someone that's not your client can try to do themselves to put their story out there, put their brand out there?
I mean, I think social media has changed the game. You can kind of operate as your own publicist a little bit in that regard. Like, find journalists that are, writing about your industry. They're probably on Twitter. They're X, I guess. They're probably on Instagram. Follow them, comment, engage. You can engage with them yourself just through social media, which that's totally changed the game. And it's all about relationship building. And things change, journalists that one writer, it's like, I worked years and years to get in with this publication, finally got in with the restaurant editor. And then like 2 years later, he, moved on. And I'm like, ugh. And that happens all the time. There's turnover. Like, I've been doing this for almost 20 years at this point, but like the people change. So just like knowing who's writing about your industry, if public relations is something, like media relations is something you want to explore, is really important. Like knowing who those people are and having a relationship with them. And then I think knowing what your story is and knowing what your unique angles are. So I think a lot of times people will be like, hey, I would love to see this story in X publication, or I would love to I want to get press on this. And I'm like, that's not a unique story. Not client, like this is like usually just like one-off conversations with people, but you have to find that unique angle. Like, so, what is something about your story that either other people aren't doing or is relevant for what's happening in today's world, or can you position yourself as an expert? That's something like I would advise if like certain changes are going to be happening in your industry, like that can be a way for you to get press. So if I don't know, there's legislation being passed on how apartments can be so, I don't know, I'm not knowing that about your
Good guess.
Yeah. But do you say, hey, like I'm available if you need anybody to give you kind of expert commentary of what this means for our industry. Like I could be a voice for you. Like that's another way, instead of just like a publicist saying, hey, write this feature piece on a client, that you can position them for kind of expert commentary type stuff.
That honestly has worked for me before. Yeah. Just getting to know reporters and they know what I do, and once they have a need for me, they'll reach out. So that's worked on my end. Do you think everyone needs PR?
No.
Okay. Easy enough. So like as a customer, okay, if I see two restaurants, the food's the same. If I know this restaurant story, and I'll say restaurant A in case it's audio only for someone. Restaurant A, I know their story. I saw them in the news. Restaurant B, don't know anything about them. Food's the exact same. Mentally, I'm probably going to say restaurant A is better. And I don't even know why. And it's probably because of knowing the story. So in that scenario, would you still say restaurant B doesn't need PR? It's still...
I don't know if it's like that. Apples and
okay,
like
it's a lot more nuanced.
Yeah, and I mean it depends on budget. It depends on and that's what's hard about PR. Like a lot of times the people that get PR have the budget for it. So it is this where there's maybe smaller establishments that have really cool stories that just can't afford it right now, and it is what it is. But like, I think journalists are also really good about like, okay, yes, I'm going to like take the information that's given to me, but I'm also going to, look if there's other options of things that fit into whatever story I'm writing. So a journalist isn't going to just like copy and paste what a PR firm gives them. They're going to like do their own due diligence on their end of like what fits like their editorial needs and preferences. So there's only so much we can do in that respect. Like, we'll get that sometimes where somebody will say, hey, I'm writing a story on, 5 restaurants to try in St. Louis. I'm just making this up. We'll send them great, angles for each of our clients, and they'll pick ones for certain reasons, so it's it's not so much like this one's better. if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it's one's better than the other. It's all like what is the things that get PR are people that are doing things that are interesting enough to get the community excited. So we're working with people that are going to do that. So, I mean, there's people I've said no to within the hospitality industry that I'm like, I just don't know if we would like add enough value for you because you're doing like super straightforward things that work, but it's just like, I don't know if you're going to, be at that point that you're going to be in food and wine. And if that's your goal is to be in food and wine, I'm not going to tell you you're going to be in that publication when I don't know if we could be the partner to get you there.